Welcome to back my channel Coin Worth Million. This channel is a special place where every video brings you new knowledge, entertainment, and exciting experiences. Here Coins Worth you will find informative content, engaging stories, and everything that sparks your curiosity. Our goal is to make every moment enjoyable, help you learn something new, and be a part of this growing family. So join us and start this wonderful journey today. The 2013 United States 1-cent coin, commonly referred to as the penny, is a small copper-plated zinc coin that represents the lowest denomination of American currency in circulation, and although its face value is just 1 cent, its story is anything but simple, for it embodies more than 2 centuries of tradition, history, and economic debate in the United States, and the particular 2013 issue sits at the intersection of ongoing discussions about the cost of producing low-denomination coinage, the cultural persistence of Abraham Lincoln's image, and the larger narrative of how coins serve as both tools of commerce and symbols of national identity. The coin is officially produced by the United States Mint, and in 2013 it was struck at multiple mint facilities including Philadelphia, No Mintmark Denver, D, and San Francisco, S for proof issues, with Philadelphia handling the bulk of general circulation strikes. The composition of the 2013 cent followed the modern standard set in 1982, being 97.5% zinc with a thin plating of 2.5% copper, resulting in a coin that visually appears copper-colored but in reality is predominantly zinc, a change made decades earlier when the cost of minting pure or nearly pure copper pennies had become prohibitive. By 2013, the irony remained that the production cost of a penny exceeded its face value, with estimates suggesting it cost the mint more than 1.8 cents to produce each cent, leading to widespread discussions in political and economic circles about whether the penny should be discontinued altogether, yet it remained in production, partly because of its symbolic role in the resistance from both the public and interest groups who viewed it as a cherished American institution. The design of the 2013 penny features on its obverse the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, a design first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Lincoln's birth and one that has since become one of the most enduring motifs in U.S. numismatics, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, whose initials, VDB, had originally caused controversy when placed prominently on the coin in 1909 but by later years were modestly restored on the coin's shoulder truncation. Lincoln's stern yet humane face gazes rightward, symbolizing his role as a leader through one of the most turbulent periods in American history, the Civil War, and his enduring reputation as a unifier and emancipator. Surrounding the portrait are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," across the upper rim, a motto first appearing on U.S. coins during the Civil War era and now legally mandated, "Liberty," to Lincoln's left, serving as a reminder of the founding principles of the nation, and the date 2013 on the right, sometimes accompanied by a small mintmark letter below the date depending on the mint of origin. The reverse of the 2013 penny carried the modern, Union Shield, design, introduced in 2010 to replace the earlier reverse, Lincoln Bicentennial, series of 2009, and created by artist Lyndall Bass with sculpting by Joseph Mena. The shield represents national unity and is reminiscent of designs used on Civil War-era Union Army banners, containing 13 vertical stripes symbolizing the original colonies joined under a single horizontal bar representing federal government, with a bold scroll across. The shield bearing the denomination, 1 cent, in raised letters, and at the top the inscription, United States of America, while the national motto, E pluribus unum, Latin for, out of many, one, arches above the shield, reinforcing the unity theme. The adoption of this reverse marked a deliberate choice by the Mint to connect the Lincoln cent more closely with the larger national narrative of preservation of the Union, linking Lincoln's presidency with the broader theme of national cohesion. From a physical perspective, the 2013 penny weighs 2.5 grams, measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter, has a plain, smooth edge, and carries a reddish copper luster when freshly struck, though circulation quickly dulls it to darker tones. Collectors often examine such coins for variations in strike quality, die errors, or unusual minting anomalies, And while the 2013 penny is considered a modern common circulation coin with billions minted, over 7 billion across facilities that year, there exist some varieties that intrigue specialists, such as double dies or off-center strikes, though these are relatively scarce. In the broader cultural imagination, the 2013 penny is more than a minor coin. It is a reflection of how Americans interact with history and money in everyday life, for the Lincoln cent has been in circulation longer than any other design in U.S. coinage history, and despite inflation reducing its purchasing power to almost negligible levels, many citizens still feel a nostalgic attachment to it, seeing Lincoln's face as an enduring reminder of honesty, leadership, and sacrifice. Economists in 2013 continued to argue that eliminating the penny could save millions of dollars annually, citing examples of countries such as Canada, which discontinued its penny in 2012, but resistance within the United States was strong, fueled by arguments about rounding prices, fears of public backlash, and lobbying from industries such as zinc producers, since the metal forms the core of every modern penny. The very year 2013 itself was significant in the sense that it came on the heels of the 2009 bicentennial celebrations of Lincoln's birth, during which the Mint had produced special reverse designs highlighting different stages of Lincoln's life, meaning that by 2013 the Union Shield had become firmly entrenched as the standard reverse, symbolizing a return to continuity after the commemorative variety. Numismatically, the 2013 cent holds a modest place, rarely commanding value above face in circulated condition given the vast mintage, yet in proof form from San Francisco or in pristine mint state grades with special designations like red, road, for full luster, they hold more interest among collectors. Beyond numismatics, the penny also has a psychological role in pricing, with businesses often setting prices to end in 0.99 or 0.95, reinforcing the penny's presence in daily transactions even as many consumers casually discard or ignore it, and so the 2013 penny, like all modern cents, becomes a symbol of both economic inefficiency and cultural persistence. Its production involved massive logistical operations, as billions of blanks had to be prepared, coated with copper, struck at high speed, and distributed through the Federal Reserve banking system to eventually make their way into cash registers, wallets, and coin jars across the nation, and in this way the 2013 penny carried the collective fingerprints of countless Americans, passing from hand to hand in an unbroken chain of commerce. At the same time, its imagery quietly reinforced national ideals: trust in God, liberty, unity out of diversity, and remembrance of Lincoln. For historians, the penny of 2013 is a testament to how material culture often outlives its original economic rationale. Becoming instead a token of identity, for collectors, it represents another year in the unbroken series of Lincoln cents stretching back more than a century. For economists, it stands as a case study in the challenges of monetary efficiency, and for ordinary people, it is a small but familiar coin that jingles in pockets, fills coin rolls, and occasionally appears bright and shiny enough to be noticed and perhaps even saved. Thus the 2013 US 1-cent coin is not just a small round object of minor face value, but a convergence point of history, economics, symbolism, and daily life, a coin whose story stretches back to the founding of the nation, to Lincoln's legacy, and forward into debates about the future of American money. Next coin. The 1978 United States 1-cent coin, commonly referred to as the penny, occupies an important place in the long-running Lincoln cent series that began in 1909 and continues to the present, and though it represents the lowest face value denomination of U.S. coinage, its 1978 issue reflects not only the economic realities of the late 1970s but also the enduring symbolism of Abraham Lincoln and the evolving story of American money, for by this year the Lincoln Memorial Reverse was in its 19th year of use, having been introduced in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, and so every 1978 penny carried a design that directly tied daily commerce to the memory of both Lincoln the man and Lincoln the monument. On the obverse of the 1978 cent, one sees the familiar bust of President Lincoln facing right, a design created by sculptor Victor David Brenner for the original 1909 issue, making it by 1978 the longest-running obverse design in U.S. coinage history. Lincoln's profile is sharply modeled with his beard, coat, and thoughtful expression symbolizing dignity and leadership, while around him appear the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," along the upper rim, "Liberty," to his left, and the date 1978 to his right, sometimes accompanied by the mintmark letter, D, for coins struck at the Denver Mint, or S, for San Francisco proof coins, while Philadelphia cents carried no mintmark at the time. On the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, appears the stately image of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., a miniature yet precise rendering of the neoclassical monument that has housed Lincoln's seated statue since 1922, and in the very center of the memorial one can, with magnification, discern the tiny outline of Lincoln's statue, making the cent unique in world coinage as a coin that shows a person on both obverse and reverse. Around the memorial are the inscriptions, "United States of America," at the top, "E Pluribus Unum," above the memorial, and the denomination, 1 cent, at the bottom. The coin is composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin, bronze, a traditional alloy that had defined the cent for generations, and it weighs 3.11 grams, measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter, and has a smooth plain edge, all consistent with cents struck since 1909. But by 1978 this composition was under increasing economic pressure because the rising price of copper was beginning to threaten the viability of making cents that contained nearly a cent's worth of metal, a problem that would culminate in 1982 when the mint switched to the copper-plated zinc composition still used today. In 1978, however, Americans still carried heavy copper cents in their pockets, pennies that felt solid and substantial compared to their modern lightweight descendants, and these coins connected people to a tradition stretching back to the earliest U.S. large cents of the 1790s. The mintage numbers for 1978 were massive, reflecting the huge demand for cents in daily commerce. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 5.5 billion coins, while the Denver Mint struck over 4.2 billion, and the San Francisco Mint struck proof issues numbering in the millions, so the total exceeded 10 billion pieces, making the 1978 cent one of the most common coins of its era, though proof coins and high-grade uncirculated examples have special appeal for collectors. Economically, the penny in 1978 still had more purchasing power than today, being able to buy small candies, pieces of gum, or contribute significantly to price totals, but inflation throughout the 1970s, driven by oil crises and economic turbulence, was steadily eroding its usefulness, a theme that continues to this day as the penny survives more as a cultural token than an economic necessity. Yet despite this decline in purchasing power, the penny carried powerful symbolic weight, for it bore Lincoln's image, reminding Americans of unity, emancipation, and sacrifice. It bore the national motto, "In God We Trust," reinforcing a sense of divine oversight. It bore "E Pluribus Unum," reminding citizens of unity in diversity, and it bore the Lincoln Memorial, a structure that itself had become a gathering place for speeches, protests, and civil rights demonstrations, thus linking the coin to living history. In 1978, the Lincoln cent was an everyday object of commerce, yet it also embodied over a century of tradition, being collected by schoolchildren in blue Whitman folders, rolled by banks in paper tubes, and stashed by countless Americans in jars, drawers, and piggy banks. For numismatists, the 1978 cent is not rare, but its context is fascinating. It represents the last years before the great compositional shift of 1982, the last era when pennies were heavy copper coins tied directly to their metal value, and when the Lincoln Memorial reverse was at its height, having been in circulation long enough to become utterly familiar yet still decades away from its eventual retirement in 2008. Error coins from 1978, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or coins struck on wrong planchettes, are of interest, and proof coins from San Francisco, with their mirror-like fields and frosted devices, capture the artistry of the mint in presenting the Lincoln cent as more than just a workhorse of commerce but also as a collectible miniature work of art. The sheer ubiquity of the 1978 cent means that billions of people have handled one, making it one of the most democratic artifacts of American culture, equally likely to be in the hands of the wealthy, the working class, children, and the elderly. The penny, and especially one from 1978, thus sits at the junction of memory and economy. It evokes childhood savings, the feel of copper in the hand, the sound of coins rattling in pockets, and the enduring respect for Lincoln as a figure who represents honesty and equality. The production process itself was immense, with blank planchettes created, annealed, washed, and struck under immense pressure by dies engraved with Brenner's and Gasparo's designs, and the mint presses of 1978 worked tirelessly to meet demand, producing hundreds of millions of cents monthly, coins that would be shipped in bags to banks across the nation and enter the vast, churning river of American commerce. By holding a 1978 penny today, one can feel a link to that era, an America grappling with inflation, energy crises, political transitions, and cultural change, yet still rooted in symbols of continuity, and this coin, while humble in value, stands as a tangible witness to that history. Thus the 1978 United States 1-cent coin is not just a small bronze disc worth 1 cent, but a cultural artifact, a historical connector, and a numismatic object of interest, representing the last years of the traditional bronze cent, the unbroken presence of Lincoln in American coinage, and the paradox of a coin that costs nearly as much to make as it is worth yet remains indispensable in the eyes of many citizens, a coin that millions of hands have touched, millions of memories have attached to, and which even today carries with it the weight of American tradition. Please like and subscribe to my channel.